Good evening. My name is Emily Asul Machado Marokin, and today I will be talking about Charles W. Schnarf, who is the CEO of Wells Fargo. Topics. In this slide, I will talk about his early life, which will include his family background, his education, and training. I will also talk about his business career history, which will include his early career, industry experience, and company experience. I will also talk about his business life, which will include his management styles, inventions, designs, patents, and philanthropy. I will also talk about his honor public recognition, his global management experience, and his business management strategy. Charles W. Schnarf background, family background. Charles W. Schnarf was born on April 24, 1965 in the suburbs of New York. Charles' father worked as a broker at Leo Rhodes. He even said that his father's main priorities was only about work and family. Charles W. Schnarf keeps a low profile about his family, but we do know that he is married to Amy Schnarf. Her family background and profession is also kept hidden, but we do note that he is also a father of 2 daughters. Charles W. Schnarf attended Johns Hopkins University in order to pursue in becoming a research chemist. When he attended college, he then realized it was not the right fit for him, so then he decided to change his major into a more liberal arts. Then he decided to get his bachelor's degree at Johns Hopkins University. Then he transferred to New York University in order to obtain his master's degree. Training. Charles W. Schnarf's first real job was being a paper route and working at the back office at Leo Rhodes. He then became the personal assistant of Jamie Dimon, and then became the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer at Smith Barney and Bank One. Both were at different times. He then became the CEO, Chief Executive Officer at JP Morgan Chase Retail Service, Visa, BNY Mellon, and Wells Fargo, which were all at different times. This slide, I will talk about his previous positions / work experience. Charles W. Schnarf worked as a paper route. In fact, this job helped him have a sense of responsibility since he had to make sure that the newspaper was delivered on time. The year is not provided since this happened when he was really young. Charles W. Schnarf worked at his dad's back office at Leo Rhodes in 1978. In 1987, he then became the personal assistant of Jamie Dimon. In fact, he was the youngest employee to ever been hired from this corporation. He then became the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer of Smith Barney in 1995. He then became the CFO of Bank One in 2000. Then in 2004, he became the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of JP Morgan Chase Retail Service. Then in 2012, he became the CEO of Visa. Then in 2017, he became the CEO of BNY Mellon. A couple months later, he then got a call from Wells Fargo for an open CEO position since the last 2 CEOs failed. He then decided to take that offer since Wells Fargo offered him something that BNY couldn't. They offered him to work from home in New York. I included this slide to show Charles W. Schnarf's work progress over the years, from him starting as a paper route to him ending as a chief executive officer. Management style. Inventions and designs cannot be found, therefore I did not add anything on this slide. I did find a patent that he filed. This invention was a method for inspecting containers, and it was invented by John M. Flood, Charles W. Schnarf, and James D. Alexander. Philanthropy. Wells Fargo will donate $6.25 million to help a global public health response for COVID-19. When Charles was the Chief Executive Officer of BNY Mellon, he then made sure to help New York's community by financing constructions. Honors public recognition. Not much was found on honors public recognition, but I did find one. It is the 2019 CEO compensation. Charles W. Schnarf was awarded $23 million in 2019. This was added on from his paycheck that he gets at Wells Fargo, so this is separate. He just got this CEO compensation because of his performance and appropriately balanced risk. Global management experience. Information on this topic could not be found, therefore I did not add anything on this slide. Business management strategy. Charles Richnarf is a very decisive and hands-on executive. He is actually prefers to have to work in smaller groups with his employees, since he believes that it's more effective. And he actually is, although he's like shy, he is a very aggressive with his actions. He is very passionate what he does. He actually visits technology vendors and sees for himself how stuff actually works, which allows him to accurately know what service it's running and how to approach it. He makes sure that employees are always involved. He makes everybody part of his business, so it could be have a more effective workflow. He believes it's the CEO's job to make sure of this, and he believes it helps them with their confidence and it also helps them work harder. What I learned, how I apply it to my future career. Overall, I learned what will lead me down the path of becoming a successful CEO like Charles W. Schnarf. I learned the type of education pattern and experience that I should follow in order to obtain this. I also learned different strategies that this Wells Fargo CEO, Charles W. Schnarf, did, and I also learned different strategies that I can put in my business if I decide to follow that path of business. And I learned the best positions that will help my business be successful and economically prosperous. Conclusion. I spoke today about Charles W. Schnarf's background, his family background, where he was born, his family's priorities, and his newfound family. I also talked about his education, what he studied in college. I also talk about his training, his previous jobs before becoming the CEO of Wells Fargo. I also talk about his previous positions / work experience through a timeline. I also talk about his work progress through a graph. I also talk about his patents and philanthropy. I also talk about the aspects of a business and management strategies. And I also talk about what I learned and how I will apply it to my future career, accounting. I included this slide to show what quotes I use in order to complete this slide. This is my reference page. Thank you so much, and like I said before, my name is Emily Asun Machado Marroquin, and thank you so much for listening. Do you guys have any questions? And if you do, you can send me an email. Thank you.